Welcome to a new Project Camp update. So we basically bought a piece of land and are prototyping a more sustainable way of living. Let's see how this is gonna go. And in the previous updates you've seen us preparing the ground so the containers can come. And in this video I'm gonna share a little bit the problems and challenges we currently have, because we have to wait for the containers anyway. And actually I also noticed something here in Portugal I also didn't know. It can actually get quite cold, especially in a van. So this is my best friend around here. So it's actually getting quite cold in here. I mean, it's not ideal in a van. The solar needs some defrosting, but it does create beautiful landscapes. And the grass is crispy and white. And the trees give a Christmas feeling. Very cool actually to see the landscape like this. But it does create a few problems. What's going on, Rita? It's for Mattia.
It's for Mattia. Look, this is a block of ice. This is a block of ice. Look, Pumpy.
One of the best, this made my life for a couple of months. I was just flying. And it's basically a water pump.
Ice.
And you just press there and then you have like running water in your van.
No dishwashing.
It's not made for Portugal.
Made.
Extreme conditions.
And you just press there and...
Wait. Wait. Look.
Like glacier water.
We have a bit of ice here. Coming out. Not working.
And overall the nights are cold, but during the day it gets warmed up by the sun and the temperature is actually super nice. And you can see everything defrosting. Like here, everything is green except the shadow, that is still warming up. So I wanted to let you guys know a little bit the problems or challenges we currently have here. And also answer a few questions I often see popping up on Discord and YouTube. So I've been walking around a bit, found this cute abandoned house. So yeah, let's do problem talk and Q&A. You find so many of these abandoned structures where you have like the countryside area and then an old ruin renovated at some point, then I don't know, neglected or abandoned. But if you're around here it really feels like the whole countryside is slowly, I don't know, going away. Full of old people, almost no young people. Probably when they pass away it's all gonna be like this, just abandoned buildings. Alright, so here are our challenges. First one I would say is cleaning the road. We just need to have the road cleaned so the container can come. And the container has a lot of resources we need because living in a van the whole time is quite minimal. But yeah, it's just a road to be cleaned and the municipality should do this. But we've been waiting for like 2 months, talk with the president, to the assistants, send them a letter, visit the municipality. And they all say it will happen next week, but then, I don't know, it's lockdown, then it's Christmas, then it's cold, then I don't know. It just takes forever. Which in a way is not a super big problem, because it's just a container. We could go without the container. But they kind of scare me for our second problem, which is we need to get an address. And we need an address for a few reasons. One is more practical stuff, that I can finally set up a Portuguese bank account. But also it depends on a few services. For instance, if we want to get electricity, we cannot start the process of getting electricity because we first need to have an address, that they have a location where they can even come. Or if you want internet, they need to know what is your address. So a lot of stuff is blocked because we don't have an address. And that has already been set in motion as well a few months ago. But seeing how long it takes to clean a road, which is done in like a day, I'm scared how long the address is gonna take. Yeah, which also directly affects problem 3, electricity. So the land had a few electricity poles on there. So when we bought the land, we asked like, hey, do we have electricity? And they said, yeah, it's easy. Just call the company and they make it. So we called the company and then they said, yeah, we can do it if you have an electricity pole. But then you start really diving into it and then they realize, you also need to have a structure on there. You also need to have a permit to get actually electricity. You also need to have a certified electrician. So it's actually not that easy at all. So now I'm very much questioning whether we should go for really connecting to the grid or going straight to solar, which is way more complex to do with our workspace, 3-phase, having enough battery, especially in the winter when you have less solar. So I don't know, to be honest. It seems like quite an expensive undertaking and also quite challenging topic to do and to set up that big. So for us it was always more like a long-term thing, like nice, we have grid, we can start with that and slowly phase it out and educate ourselves more on the topic of off-grid electricity. So yeah, but maybe now it needs to be accelerated because processes move so slow. I don't know, to be honest, how it would go. Maybe, I don't know, it's more clear within a month. Alright, so question I often get, what's your plan there? I think the real honest questions is, don't really know. And also didn't really plan that much, to be honest. We know this piece of land gives us a bit of freedom to experiment. But up until now, the focus has also really been very much to just get the basics there. Make sure we have an address, container, electricity, and then we can plan for the next phase. Because I also don't really want to plan yet if I depend a lot on things like a municipality. I mean, which scare me because then you plan, let's do stuff in summer, and then, I don't know, we cannot. But yeah, in general, I would say the rough plan would be to first get the shared infrastructure in place, like a workspace and a kitchen, and then start working more on houses. But it still feels like kind of far away before we actually start that process. At the moment, not that much. We have a lot of people that want to join from external, like outside people, but also within our own team. But it really feels like there's not that much to do. A lot of processes is just waiting for a municipality, and well, you can wait with 10 people, but it doesn't really make sense. So mainly it's now just me. Mattia drops by every now and then because he's in Porto, and Gita is here as well. She mainly talks Portuguese and can do all the talks with the presidents and the municipalities. And besides that, yeah, it's not that much going on yet. I think once we have those basics here, we could really start setting up a team and make the next phase. So, not really figured that part out. The land was bought by some money we had and some loan from friends and family, which was super nice actually, that they helped out. But for the long term, we don't really have a plan for that yet. But up until now, the costs have also been low. I mean, because we're not really building anything. I think once we start planning for the next phase, we really... not a problem, full SD cards. But I think once we start planning phase 2, when we need to get maybe, for instance, installing solar or really building the workspace or building some proper infrastructure, I think that's when we seriously need to look into it. So if you have any tips or tricks, let me know. At the moment not yet, because yeah, we're still waiting for the basics to even be set up. And if you would come now, you can come and sit next to me on a chair and wait. So yeah, wouldn't recommend that. At the moment I would say wake up in a cold van, maybe do some work on the land, maybe do some filming and some talks with the municipality. Some days I spend on the land, but if it's really bad weather or like raining all day, I often go to Santa Combadão as well, where I have some internet, get a nice bread, and then yeah, do there. So it's a bit of a combination of those two. I think also, yeah, continuing the digital work and doing the physical work in the land. Well, actually, I don't know if you can help with this, but one thing I always wanted to do is making more time-lapse. I think they're really cool to make. It's really beautiful also to see the land evolving over time. But I only have one camera, it's not waterproof, and sometimes I just want to leave the time-lapse for a day or something. So I was actually thinking of maybe asking you guys, but maybe I'll do it in a proper video at some point, to ask if you have some old cameras laying around, maybe a GoPro or stuff you don't need, and I can all hook them up so we have more ways of capturing what's going on the land. One thing that's also on the list is to make like a weather box that measures the wind, but also the humidity, the amount of sun, the amount of rain that there falls. I mean, a lot of this information you can find on the internet, but it's still kind of general, and I would be very curious to have them on a few places on the land where we can really measure and keep track of it ourselves. There are a lot of open source Arduino projects actually on this, but I don't know, I need to dive into it, and it's kind of hard without my tools. But if this container would arrive, it's still kind of hard to even order components because we don't have this post office. And even if we have an address, it doesn't have a mailbox or anything. So I don't know, this stuff is a bit challenging to do around here. So maybe within the community, people are interested in this topic. And I don't know, I would be very happy to install them here and keep track of it. So yeah. Alright, so that was it. That was the problems right here. If you have more questions, let me know in the comments. Or go to Discord to hang out. Thanks for watching. I think I'm gonna get home. It's gonna get very chilly. Alright, see you guys next time.